We give the floor to Thodonis now. Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Now, it was very interesting to hear from you, and it was an honor to hear from you. It's also an honor to have the minister, Mr. Skrekas, with us, and I'm going to call him right now to the stand. Mr. Famalos will follow. Just let me ask you a kind request. We need to keep our times today, so please keep your comments on time. Welcome, Mr. Minister. Good morning, everyone. I will try to be brief, but useful in what I'm going to say, and I will try to enlighten you as well. First of all, I want to congratulate the Energy Press for this institution, this conference, that is discussing topics that are so crucial and so topical right now, in a time where the energy prices are skyrocketing in Europe and worldwide. There's a lot of concern about the future. We also have these extreme weather conditions that we now see more or less quite often in Greece, or whether we're talking about heat waves or about water showers. All of this does affect our everyday life, does create problems for the agricultural production and the prices of the agricultural products. Of course, there's also an increase in the demand of natural gas because of the weather conditions, because of the harsh winters. And it's really difficult to say what's going to happen with the pricing of natural gas. We see that the inventory that Great Britain has is very low, and there's a low offer and high demand everywhere in the world. So the Greek government right now is called to take some measures, immediate measures, in order to support on the short term the consumers of energy and the consumers of energy products in general, whether they are households or, of course, companies. And on the other hand, we have to prepare a strategy for the midterm and long term that will ensure low pricing for energy on the one side, and on the other side, a reduction to the CO2 emissions, which is what is causing the climate change that unfortunately has brought on this climate crisis. The reaction of the Greek government in terms of this never-before-seen increases in energy demand and pricing, our reaction was immediate. The Greek government was one of the first in Europe that reacted immediately and has taken measures to support the households. Why the households? Because a household cannot transfer this increased energy cost that they consume to someone else. A household consumes electricity or fossil fuels to heat their homes. On the other hand, the businessman determines their energy costs, the production costs for the services or the products that they produce, depending on their cost centers, which in the end define the cost of the provided service or product. Of course, when it comes to professionals, to businessmen, we prepare some permanent solutions for them so they can be, to make them sustainable before this challenges of the climate crisis. And this is why we have submitted for discussion and to vote a bill, the European legislation. We are using the money of the European Union for energy savings in SMEs or larger businesses. We have promoted a number of measures in order to use RES or photovoltaic energy, so that energy consumers or producers can have permanently low prices for green energy. We have designed a framework for gradual reduction of the taxes that businessmen are paying, the companies are paying. different types of costs such as insurance contributions, so that all the companies can actually be sustainable in the future. So we have an entire support frame for the businesses. We're trying to achieve our goal to become more competitive in the future and more resilient and more adapted to the challenges of the climate crisis. In terms of the energy transition in Europe, the latest developments with energy prices, unfortunately, have given rise to popularistic voices. People say that the increase is caused by the European strategy or regarding the green transition, and this is a mistake. This is something that we need to stop right now, because if Europe had taken the steps, or the world had taken the steps 10 years ago, now today we would enjoy lower energy prices, and we would have had less pollution, less emissions, and we would have helped the planet more. Today, 70% of energy demand in Greece, when we will have energy supplied by 70% by RES sources, then we will be more self-sufficient, more sustainable, and we will have better pricing. But in order to achieve that, we need monetary tools in order to make the necessary investments and upgrade the infrastructure so that we can have better penetration of the RES. This is why we're using $1.5 billion from the European funds. To modernize and decarbonize. We're using 16 million euro from the NRS funds. We are expediting the procedures for RES so that we can achieve better prices for the energy and the electricity system up to 2025. We are expanding our scheme for the tenders with energy packages close to 30 gigawatt. And part of that will have to come from wind energy. We will see the results of the RES tenders so that we can have a balance between wind energy and photovoltaic energy, and we will have better provision of electricity. We have established safeguards to ensure that these projects are going to be completed through a guarantee, a performance guarantee by the contractors. We are upgrading the electrical grids. It's necessary. We cannot achieve our goal for 2030 for 70% penetration of RES if we do not upgrade our infrastructure, our national grid. We have to interconnect the non-connected islands. The benefit from that will be very significant. We are going to ensure sustainability and energy for the islands, and we will also have a benefit for the consumers. We will lower the pricing. The electricity bills will be lower because we are not going to be using the expensive diesel engines to produce electricity. And the islands are going to benefit from the same energy mixture as the continental Greece. And we expect in 2022, 100 million euros reduction in fees, in taxes and fees, and 238 million in 2023, the reaction for the fees for the usage, and 385 million in 2025. 1.1 billion euro will be the reduction for the usage of the grid for the fees, and that will go to the bills, the electricity bills of everyone, the households, the businesses, and that's very positive, especially now that we see this this rise in energy prices. So we are proposing solutions that are balanced and have been designed with a very serious cost-benefit study, so that in the end they will be beneficial for society, for the environment. We also promote, and we're trying to use RES for our industrial units, for our product producers, for the business. So we have increased net metering from 1 to 3 megawatts, and we are promoting a bill in the next days where we will give the opportunity to consumers of electricity to construct, to build a plant to produce electricity, RES, wind farm or a photovoltaic plant, and they can use this electricity without only for self-consumption, without sending anything to the grid. They can be connected through an electricity interconnection with means of production, and that will give them the opportunity to reduce the energy cost, the energy that they consume, of course, at the time that they need it. And on the other hand, we will not burden the general electricity system, and that will give the opportunity to points where the grid is saturated. We'll give them the opportunity to construct, to build such a energy production facility, and they can immediately consume what they generate without sending anything to the grid. We're supporting and promoting the installation of energy storage means. We cannot ensure the stability of the system unless we have such storage facilities. And it's the only way to benefit from our solar power as well. So we need to invest in energy storage means, whether they are batteries or hydroelectric plants, and that's why we are using the money of the European funds in order to proceed with such investments. We have made a pre-notification for the first tender, about 700 watts power for battery systems. We have notified the European Commission about this, and we are in communication and negotiating in order to proceed with a tender. And we also expect the final decision and the approval for the hybrid stations on the Greek islands that will give us the opportunity to reduce the carbon emissions and improve the level of services that we provide to the local communities and the visitors, of course, that come from everywhere in the world. We are revising the National Plan for Climate and Energy. We want to proceed with this revision. We need to reduce the carbon emissions by 55% compared to 1990. This is the new European ambition, and we participate in that. We also promote the legal framework and the means to support offshore parks. We estimate that until 2030 we will have more than 1.5 gigawatts of offshore energy, and a lot of that will be floating, because we believe that they are a lot friendlier to the environment. They do not affect the sea bottom. They do not create any visual problems. They are friendly to the environment, and they will be able to contribute a lot, since we have a lot of wind offshore, to the energy mix of our country. Of course, such a ambitious national strategy also includes things that have to do with production of green hydrogen. It is the fuel of the future. Hydrogen, it will help us ensure the absolute stability for the grid, for the electricity grid in our country and in Europe in general, and in the whole world. It will give us the opportunity to use solar power and wind power to the absolute degree. So this green energy will also be available to us whenever we need it. So we are finalizing now the preparation of the climate law that will be up for public deliberation soon. We want to be ambitious there. We want to place the foundations about the future of our country, and this is our way to stand on the side of our citizens, next to our production base, and not leave anyone behind, and always supporting the most vulnerable ones, the weaker ones, in order to plan an energy policy that will truly be able to help us move ahead, be innovative, and be a resilient society in the next decades. Thank you.